Well, everyone, it's time for us to go ahead and take a look at the Google Pixel 7 and compare it against the Google Pixel 4 and see which specific phone is the better one for you. Now, obviously, the Pixel 7 is better, but let's go and see how both these compare. The links will be down in the description if you want to pick up either one of these phones. You can get them from there. You can support the channel at the same time. Now, starting off side by side, you can definitely tell there are some differences between both. The Google Pixel 4, which came out back in 2019 on the front, has a pretty decent display. It's 5.7 inches, and it's a AMOLED display or POLED display. Now, it isn't like the craziest best panel anymore. You have a little bit of bezel around it. You have a pretty interesting design up top, and you have a little bit of bezel at the bottom. However, it was a pretty big jump from the Pixel 3 XL, so I will definitely give it that. And I was able to get Android 13 on it right now, which is really, really nice. And with that 90 hertz panel, it definitely makes this thing seem much smoother than it should be, which is really nice. So 3 years later, I still think it's holding up fairly well. With the Pixel 7, on the other hand, you're getting a bigger 6.3-inch AMOLED display. Now, this thing is a beautiful panel, and it's a bigger screen for sure than the Pixel 4. You're getting less bezel around it, though, so that's pretty much a big thing to keep in mind. Less bezel on the top and the bottom, hole punch display as well, which looks beautiful. 90 hertz display on this one, though, so keep that in mind. You are getting a 90 hertz on both these screens, which is actually very interesting. Now, in terms of the thinness and thickness and the rest of the body, you are getting, I guess, an aluminum build on both these phones. However, the Pixel 7 definitely feels much more premium. So the width of both these phones is kind of very similar. You're getting SIM card trays on both, which is nice. There isn't really like one that's like way thicker than the other one, but I'd probably say the Pixel 7 might be a little bit thicker. You can also tell the camera bump between both, how much thicker the camera bump is on the Pixel 7 than on the Pixel 4. Now you're also getting USB-C ports on the bottom of both these as well as the speaker grills, which is nice. And on the back, we are getting a glass back on the Pixel 7, where we're getting an aluminum back on the Pixel 4. Is it a big difference? Not really, to be honest. I mean, they both kind of have their pros and cons. I don't know if there's like a phone I would be like, oh my goodness, this is the one you need to go and update to. But I will say with the Pixel 4, I like this type of styling. It's an aluminum back here versus the Pixel 7's glass back, but I do think both of them have their pros and cons. And I don't think there's like one that's like way better than the other one. Now, they both have dual camera setups, different designs obviously. They both support wireless charging as well, but the Pixel 7 does support reverse wireless charging, which is really cool. The Pixel 4 does not have reverse wireless charging. So that's probably a big thing to keep in mind. And in terms of that kind of covers it up everything on the outside. Those are pretty much the main differences as far as I can tell. Now, there are some differences with software. So the Google Pixel 4, even though it came out back in 2019, and Google does a great job at supporting their phones, I'm not too sure how much longer the Pixel 4 is going to be supported. There's a chance it may get the next version of software. There's also a chance it may not. Google has been improving their software longevity quite a bit, which I'm really happy about. But I will tell you, on Android 13, I just updated to it, but things are very smooth on this type of phone, even though it's not a very old phone, although it is an older phone. It isn't really performing that much slower than you would probably expect. Now, I haven't done like extreme gaming on this phone in a long time, so it's hard for me to tell like how great this software is going to be on this specific version of phone, and including the performance and everything. But I will tell you, for this phone, for the time being, it's still supported with software, and there's really not too much to hate on it in that point. But it's quite obvious, the Pixel 7, if you're trying to get a phone that's going to last the longest amount of time, this is definitely going to be the better way to go. It's a great phone, great build quality, and has a longer, runway ahead of it than the Pixel 4 for sure. So that kind of covers it up there. Now let's go into a speed comparison between both these phones. The Pixel 7 has a Google Tensor G2 chipset inside of it with 8 gigabytes of RAM, where the Pixel 4, on the other hand, has that Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset inside of it with 6 gigabytes of RAM. So let's go and see which one's the faster one between both. Okay, there we go. All the apps are clear in the background, so let us get into it. Pixel 4 is here, Pixel 7 is here. Phone calls 3, 2, 1. Don't even know how I already messed up on the first application, but it did take me a couple tries to open it up on the Pixel 4, which is weird. Camera 3, 2, 1. Of course, we get into that pop-up. Let's go and take a photo between both. Now, this one is on night mode, this one isn't. So we're going to go ahead and take off night mode for the time being. Actually, forget that. Let's just go and hop out of this one. Play Store 3, 2, 1. Both were very interesting. I don't think there was one that was fast. Maybe the Pixel 4 was the faster one overall, but they were both very, very similar, which is very interesting. Hopping out of both, very smooth on both, which is very interesting. Now we have a ton of apps on both. Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. Now we're getting into the downloading content panel on both. As you guys can tell, the Pixel 7 does look like it's a little bit faster here. The Pixel 4 Still doing a decent job for, again, how old that phone is. And I did get into it a little bit faster, but it really wasn't like a crazy big difference. If we go and get into some gameplay, though, I am kind of curious to see if the Pixel 4 glitches, and both are doing pretty good. So that's actually very, very interesting hopping out of this one. Let's go into Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. Almost identically the same on both. Getting into some gameplay, let's see if there's going to be any glitches. And it does kind of look like to me that the Pixel 4 was a little bit more glitchy, but it may be hard to tell over the camera, I'm not too sure. Stack, 3, 2, 1. Pixel 7 slightly faster, but the Pixel 4 is still very, very fast. Facebook, 3, 2, 1. Very, very close between both. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. Pixel 4 was actually faster there. Very, very surprising. Snapchat, 3, 2, 1. Very, very similar performance I'm getting between both. Now, okay, so thank you, 3, 2, 1. I'm still going to say the Pixel 4 is going to be slower overall in like heavy intensive games and all those other things, which is expected, but it's still very, very crazy to me. Let's try Roblox, 3, 2, 1. Now, I haven't logged into it on here. As you can see, I haven't even opened it up yet. Maybe the Pixel 7 was going to be faster, but that was still very close. Genshin Impact, 3, 2, 1. Now this one's taking a little bit of time. The Pixel 4 kind of loaded it up a little bit faster. This one we were logged into an account, so I don't know which one is clearly the faster one, but I will tell you the Pixel 4 did way better than it should have, and this one actually surprised me way more than the Pixel 7. So maybe we'll do another full one, I'm not too sure, but the Pixel 4 definitely surprised me. And the camera standpoint though, they both have dual camera setups like I mentioned before, a wide angle lens and a telephoto lens on the Pixel 4, but a wide and ultra wide camera on the Pixel 7. Now, they both can do 4K video, but the Pixel 4 can only do 4K at 30 on the back, 1080p on the front. The Pixel 7 can do 4K at 60 on the front and the back, which I think is actually a pretty big deal. Now, on the Pixel 4 camera, personally, I think this is a pretty good camera. I've used it for a few years now. This one, I obviously just booted it up after Android 13, and I think it's not a bad camera. The UI is very similar. You have 8x zoom with that dedicated telephoto lens. I don't know what this glitching is going on, and you have the standard. I don't know what the heck is going on between these, but you have portrait mode, night sight. You have the video mode as well, and you have other standard modes that we usually have. That doesn't necessarily mean this is like the go-to camera for a lot of people, but I will say Google does a great job with optimizing their cameras. But I will say this generation, they definitely dropped the ball. I wasn't that big of a fan of this year's cameras for this specific Pixel 4. I feel like the 4 XL could have done better. I feel like the standard Pixel 4 could have done better too. But with the Pixel 7 this year, I think Google did a pretty good job. This thing definitely isn't like the best camera of this year, I don't think. But I do think, for the time being, it's definitely a decent camera. So zooming in, you have 8x zoom, which is very interesting because this thing doesn't even have a telephoto lens compared to the Pixel 4 XL, or Pixel 4 even. But you have the 0.7x zoom as well, which is something the Pixel 4 does not have. Now you have the standard camera mode, portrait mode, you have the motion and night side mode as well, which is nice. But you do have this new cinematic mode, which is really cool. And you have the standard modes as well as panorama, photosphere, and lens. So I will tell you the Pixel 7 definitely has a better camera here. It's going to be more optimized. You're getting that ultra-wide camera, and you're also getting the same amount of zoom compared to the Pixel 4, even though some of it is digital. So to kind of sum up this comparison, the Pixel 7, I think, is a clear logical step from the Pixel 4. I think this is a tremendous phone that has just so much of a future ahead of it that it just makes sense to buy a phone like this. And I do think it's like the logical next step coming from a Pixel 4, if I'm being honest. You're getting better build quality, reverse wireless charging, longer lasting phone performance should be better on here. Everything is better on this phone, including battery life. But the Pixel 4, for how it performed today, was very surprising. It was very fast. Maybe because we just installed Android 13 and it's kind of a new phone for me. I factory resetted it, so that might be something to do with it. The build quality is not bad, and it's not like a bad performing phone at all. But if you have the money, go for the Pixel 7. Otherwise, the Pixel 4 might still be a decent phone. It's just the battery life I'm not a fan of. So that kind of covers it. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, not me so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.